So without disturbing the already existing Docker file, I'll create a directory called nginx, or else let's rename it to docker nginx. So here we'll write a Docker file. So from nginx latest. So from nginx latest, and we'll use run command. So guys, actually the path of nginx in general is /var/www/html, right? But if you come to Docker, the home path will change. If you come to if you come to Docker, the home path will change. So this is the home path where nginx is configured. So what do you understand about this command? What do you understand about this command? I'm actually deleting the existing files. I'm deleting the existing files, and let me have my own content. So echo hello world /usr/share/nginx/html/index.html. Okay, so I'm applying some content here, and after applying some content, service nginx restart. Just restart the service. So simple syntax. From next, removing all the existing files, next updating the content, and restart the services. Okay, very simple. Now save and exit. So my Docker file is created. Now Docker what? Run or build? Build -t nginx my image. So before running this command, see what are the images which I have. See, if you see, I have only Ubuntu based images. But now if I try to run this command, docker build -t nginx my image dot. See what happens now. It will try to pull the base image first. On top of the base image, your custom image will be created. Press enter. There are 4 layers, so each layer will get attached. First it is pulling the base image. Next, it has run the services and successfully built and successfully tagged. Now check for Docker images. Now you can see first a base image which is created, which is nginx latest, and on top of this you have your custom image. Now convert this into a container. Docker run -t -p. So previously you were using -it and -t, which is interactive terminal with the detached mode. But now for this type of web servers and all, you don't require interactive terminal. You require only detached mode, and port forwarding will be there. Okay, so -t for detached mode. That means I can attach the container and detach the container, and -p stands for port forwarding. -p stands for port forwarding. So here let me give some 5000 port 80 and nginx my image. So if you see here, what is this 5000 and what is this 80? So 80 is the container port. So 80 is the container port, and this 5000 is called as a host port. It is called as a host port, and other is container port. So internally your application will be running on port 80. But if you want to expose your application to the outside world, you have to use your host port number. So the host port number can be anything. So it can be even 8080 also. So it can be even you can use like this also. 8080 you can use. So whatever port number you feel like you can use. But there will be some special port numbers which are already allocated, like 8080 and 3000 port. So what is 3000 port? Not 3000, 9000 and 8001. 9000 is for Sonar Cube and 8081 Nexus. And you have Prometheus and Grafana also, which will be running on 3000 port. So these are port numbers are already allocated. And example 8080. So 8080 is allocated to Jenkins and Tomcat server. So don't use the port which are already allocated to other services. So you can use any other port than that. So I'll use 5000 port provided with a image name. So here if you see, two flags are not used. One is -it is not used, and /bin/bash is also not used. So as this is a web server, no need of using those two flags. You can directly execute this. So enter. So a container has been created. Now check docker ps. So I'll reduce the file size so that everything will be in single line. So if you see here, the container, compare the container. This is a normal operating system type of container, but if you see here, this is a web server. So it is having some port numbers allocated. So traffic is first it reaches 5000 and then it reaches port 80. So inside this port 80 your Docker application will be there, right? So just in case in future you wanted to do some changes here, right? You wanted to enter into the container and if you wanted to do some changes, but will the Docker allow me to do this for this container? Will the Docker allow me to enter into the container? No, because it doesn't have any interactive terminal and shell scripting permissions, right? See, compare this and this. See, it is having /bin/bash. That means you can run your shell commands, but whereas for this you don't have any commands to execute. So even for this type of containers also, there is a way to enter into it. So how do you enter? Docker execute. So docker exec. So even though if you don't have interactive terminal with the bin bash permissions, you can enter. So docker execute. Now here you have to provide -it, the name of the container, /bin/bash. So here even you can bypass the container and you can enter. Press enter. So you can be able to enter into the container. So match with this container ID. So here, so let me go and check. So /usr share nginx. So here you have HTML. See, let us. Okay, so I think our Docker file is not properly connected. So it has to be index.html, right? So, but instead of index.html, there is only HTML. So let's control PQ, exit, go to Docker file. Okay, it looks fine. /usr share nginx. Okay, so there is a file, no problem. So everything is online. We can exit from this, control PQ. So we need to expose with 5000. So go back to browser, copy your EC2's public IP address and make sure 5000 port is enabled here. Okay, 5000 is already enabled, and open with this. So can you see hello world deployed here? So this is how you deploy your Nginx application, right? So now let's deploy a proper HTML application. Okay, so let's ask or else we'll select some sample applications. I think these are all paid. Let's take any application. So click on copy link. So you can select Windows or Mac, whatever it is. So right click and I think copy link address. Let's try this, wget and the link. I think this is not the format. It should be downloading in some zip format. No, it's not downloading. Okay, anyways, we'll ask this ChatGPT to give some prompting. So assume that your application will be in your local folder. So how to deploy this folder to nginx server. So same thing, so vi docker file. So here I need to give an extra instruction, so we need to remove this. So instead of this we'll use copy instruction, and here I have index.html and I wanted to shift it to this to transfer to the Docker's original path. Now save and exit, build the image again. So docker build, so this time we'll give my image 2 so that it won't get clashed with the previous image. Okay, so new image has been created, docker images. See, my image has been created, and in order to deploy this, docker run -d-p. So this time we'll give some 6000 port along with port 80 and nginx my image 2 docker ps. So a container has been created. Now let's check the output using 6000 port. So we don't have 6000 port, so go to security groups, edit and add rule and provide 6000. Save changes. So I think this is crashing because same host it is working, right? So let's docker stop this container first and docker rm, and we'll even delete the existing container as well. Okay, so docker run -d-p some 6000 port 80 my image 2. Just a moment guys, I'm getting some error here. So I think we need to give the correct path here. It's in /root/index.html docker build -t okay, it's in this is the path actually. Okay, docker images, docker run -d -p 6000, or else we'll use some 7000 port. And check the configuration. Okay, successfully the content has been updated here. Okay, so instead of opening one by one port, I think let's give all traffic. So all traffic is already mentioned. Okay. So actually there was a path mistake in the Docker file, so I have recreated the Docker file. So this is how you deploy your proper application. So while you are practicing now, what you can do, if you have any index the HTML application in the local now, either you can push it to the GitHub. From the GitHub you can clone it, or else, you know, right, in the beginning classes we have been doing WinSCP. So from WinSCP transfer the application to your EC2 instance, and from there create a Docker file, deploy it into a Docker container. So after you successfully deploy, we'll see how to push the image to the Docker Hub or ECR. Okay, so I'll stop the video here. So you just practice this.